the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
Surrounded by gods, a man, I thought I saw his eyes. They parted wild, for the house always, for the house always wins. For the house always wins. For the house always wins. For the house always wins.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first iteration of Wrestling with the Devil. And I see True Anonymous, the first one to say what's up. What's up, True Anonymous? How you doing, man? I'm trying different layouts for like different shows, especially this one as of right now, and I'll give you an idea of what the show's going to be about and a little introduction to me for any of you who don't know. But this is going to be a series I do every so often. I'm not going to do it every week. I had different ideas of what I wanted to do with it, right? I wanted to make it into a, what do you call it? A monthly series. I wanted to do that where I talk about like a lot of the news going on. But again, something I'm not really that into doing. So I thought, why not have conversations about things? Maybe not everybody else in the community saw, because we've got other shows who talk about wrestling news, other stuff like that. I may give my thoughts on WrestleMania next week. There may be an episode next week, for example. But outside of that, that's going to be the main focus, is going to be just talking about specific topics that maybe not a lot of people in our community talk about and all that. And I actually want to give a shout out to D-Generation Jesse. I want to give him a shout because he was the one who kind of gave me the idea of doing this as the first topic episode and all that. Because I wanted to, there is a follow-up to this episode that I'll probably do in a few weeks. And also, as I've mentioned previously, I want to go within my roots. I did talk about wrestling back in the day from time to time. And I want to get back in that, but more in a broader sense. And more so, maybe even in the fandom. Not just the overall, like, product and stuff like that. So, again, let me see. Okay. Anyway. So this is going to be a little like a test episode and all that. So I want that to be, and also bear in mind, also, ladies and gentlemen, I am still dealing with allergies. So if you hear me cough, like about right now, then yeah. So I apologize in advance for that. I thought about pushing this episode back, but I'm going to be super busy this week. So it's like the only day I'll probably be free to do it. So with that out of the way, a little bit about me. Of course, I am 31 years old. I have been a wrestling fan since really even before birth. When I was in the womb, my mom would tell me stories about like, how I would even as a little one, wrestling music would calm me down when I was a little rowdy one. I consider myself a student of the game. I don't just watch, like I grew up at my first memories of pro wrestling is the Attitude Era, is Sting and Hogan, the NWO, Rodman, being with Hogan, Voodoo Child, Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels before the back injury. Those are like my earliest memories of wrestling. So I grew up right when the Attitude Era kicked off. I went through that, the invasion angle, the what do you call it, the ruthless aggression era. I would be watching TNA around I think 2004. I'd be watching what do you call it, Ring of Honor. Many years later, I knew about it, but I didn't really give much thought to later. Same with ECW. I became familiar with it through WWE, like the rise and fall of ECW. And also I became familiar with a lot of the territories. Jim Crockett promotion, the AWA, World Class. One of my favorite people to watch back in the day was Tully Blanchard, if we're talking like the 80s. It was a big, while I did not live through that period, I became a student of the game. I like to study and all that. I've watched wrestling from all over the world. The US, Canada, Japan, Mexico, if I haven't said that already, the UK, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, I've always classified myself as a pro wrestling fan. There are days where I'm one company than the other. Like last night, we had I think AEW Dynasty. We had that. I did see some of the key matches, and it was a lot of fun. Like the MJF Kenny Omega match was great. Like I always say this, while I have had many complaints over AEW over the years, I have always said their pay-per-views, I don't want to say PLEs, are top-notch. So I would say, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the gatekeeper, but I would say my opinion and my thought process on things is very valid. I've never classified myself as someone who was a part of the YWC. So, while I've dabbled in it, even the IWC, I don't, because that's another topic for another day. The IWC as a whole, that's another topic I could discuss, because that could be a multi-part series. But I'll get to that on a later date. So like I said, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I've been through the highs and lows of not only WWE, TNA, AEW, Ring of Honor, so on and so forth, New Japan, so on and so forth. So that's like a little thing about me. If you all know who my favorite wrestlers are of all time, it's The Undertaker, Sting, and I will probably say, nowadays, after even his comeback in 2021, CM Punk. And then probably to round it off, it'd be like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So those would be, sometimes Bret Hart and Shawn kind of flip. It's like one of the rare times Shawn will do the JOB to Bret Hart. It's when he switches places with him. But nonetheless, and fuck Bill Goldberg. So the main topic of this video, and again, shout out to Jesse for this idea, is reactors, live reactors. You've seen them. Hell, I've even been on some live reactions. I think I've hosted a few live reactions. It's a way to engage with the fans while creating viral moments. I've been on some reaction shows that are complete dog shit. They don't know how to fucking do anything. I've been on reacting shows where, I'm not even expecting you to be, whoa, oh my God, The Rock just came back. Whoa, please put me on TV, WWE. but it's just like, oh, I gotta put my headset on and not listen, not say anything to the chat and just pay attention to the thing. Like I've been on some dog shit reacting streams. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm gonna talk about that too because there's a fine line between the good reactors and the bad reactors, and then of course I guess you would say the ones who are just doing it for clout. But then again, you could say we're all doing it. We're doing YouTube for clout if we're being perfectly honest. But nonetheless, let's get back to it. So my main problem, I guess, with reactors, and it's not all of them. Excuse me. I know some people that are reactors. They are good people. They know the game, and they have others. There's fuck, I can't remember the guy's name, but I like his blind buys on WWE Shop. Like his best content is like the fucking like stuff he buys on Temu, like WWE stuff from Temu or WWE Shop and stuff like that. Fuck, I can't recall his name, his channel name. But it'll come back to me later. But I really like some of his stuff, but like, and I don't want to make this completely female driven because there are a few females in this that I feel like are a big issue, and why I feel like some of these reactors act like gatekeepers. That if you have an opinion that differentiates yourself, like for example, okay, here's a good example. I know a lot of women are against Brock Lesnar being featured on anything, right? Because the Janelle Grant stuff, right? Now, I've always stated that Brock Lesnar is basically has been caught in the middle of the situation. The real perpetrator, the real scumbag is Vince McMahon. Now, did Brock is probably the biggest thing that Brock Lesnar committed was possibly infidelity. But Sable's still with him, probably because she knows she ain't got nothing else really to gain from, unless I'm sure Brock's smart enough to have a prenup signed. But nonetheless, I would think that like that's Brock's like what? He has a weird piss fetish? We all have fucking weird fetishes. Funny enough, I'll get to one of those in a little bit. But it's the idea that they're so against Brock. They're so against Brock. They're so against his comeback win. What did he like? I've seen the documents, all that stuff, the text messages. What has he done wrong except saying he's gonna wreck that bitch? Hell, I tell my wife every day, like when we were going to get, I'm like, I'm about to wreck that pussy. Is there anything wrong with that? I'm waiting for somebody to say something, regarding that, right? No, okay. And it's just like he's caught in the middle of the situation. What has he done that is legally wrong? Morally, well, again, that's up for debate. Oh, yes, sweetie. Can confirm. Yes, she can confirm that. Yes. Unlike some of you wrestling nerds, I do have a woman. Anyway. My point is that what has he done wrong? Like I said, morally, the only thing he's done wrong is fucking, he wanted to, or infidelity. Again, some women like to get peed on. Some dudes like to get peed on. Shit, there are some sick fucks who like to get shit on or vomited on. I may slightly judge you for that, but that's your kink. I can't really say too much, but I will judge you in my head. But that's one thing that always irks me with these. And when anybody tries to do an argument with some of these I'll just say the women reactors. They try to go back and say this, that, and the third, or they basically shut you up. You're allowed to have an opinion. Nothing wrong with that. But if someone disagrees with you and is respectful on the matter, they'll be calling them names and they'll be doing this, they'll be doing that. Like, for example, someone could say Vince McMahon's innocent. My only thing is I would like to see what I haven't seen regarding messages and documents and all that other stuff. Who knows? You could be right. I'm not going to say you're a fucking fool. I'm not going to say I'm not going to call you names. It's just like when people chanting, "We want Vince." Does everybody remember? This is the thing, I think. I think this is what I think some of these fans have Stockholm syndrome, where they were held captive against their will and forced to watch the shit that we had to sit through, especially in 2019 and parts of 2020, 2018. You know, you remember Roman Reigns being fed dog food? You should remember that because CM Punk brought that up last Monday. Remember that? Remember Jason Jordan as Kurt Angle's illegitimate son? I think the main thing that stopped that from going anywhere was I think Jason Jordan got injured, but that still stands. Well, yeah, I'm still waiting on somebody to say that because I just want to know. No, like I always welcome conversations. I always welcome debates, discussions. This is a solo stream. But in the future, if you want to have those discussions about specific things I mentioned, we could always do part 2s. I don't mind. But here's the other thing, and I'm going to point out, and I'm going to use my first exhibit A, regarding the reactors. Exhibit A, I believe her name goes by Mimi Portable. I mentioned her a few nights ago. She's been a reactor, I don't know for how long, but I became familiar with her because her boyfriend, I was a fan of. He would do the Jey Uso impressions back when Jey Uso was actually relevant and entertaining and not annoying. Anyway, I became familiar with her, so I was like, okay, cool. I like supporting women's content in wrestling. I feel like that is something that is very, very small compared to, because let's be real here. Pro wrestling has always been a male-dominated industry, not just on camera and behind the scenes, but also in the world of the fandom, in the world of YouTube. So, I always like to support these types of people, or these types of people, right? But after a while, I started to get a little, certain things you would say would kind of rub me the wrong way. And how she would silence people for disagreeing with her. Very sensitive. But I was like, okay, you know what? You know what really, I guess, threw it over the edge with me? Was the fact that she talks all this stuff, talks about and talks shit about how women were treated and how they were sexualized and all this other stuff. Which again, the Attitude Era had its good points and bad points. Despite what Pat McAfee wants you to believe, the Attitude Era should not come back to the way it was. Should there be more foul language? Sure. Should there be more blood? Sure. Should there be more anarchy? Sure. But I do not want to see, as much as I would like to see Stephanie Vaquer in a thong running around fucking ripping another woman's clothes, like them having a Brawl Panties match at WrestleMania. Liv Morgan and fucking Stephanie Vaquer. As much as I would like to see that, by the way, check out Liv Morgan's music video. It's very, very interesting. Yes, she did do a music video today. I don't know why I think of it. Like, the video's nice. Her singing can be up for debate. But nonetheless. As much as I would like to see Stephanie Faker and fucking Liv Morgan and Braun Paynes after they're wearing thongs underneath and they're stripping each other down, that doesn't work today. That doesn't work for me, brother. In the year 2026. You know, that's just how it is. As much as everybody, like, or some of the offensive shit that we saw back then. Need I remind you of Val Venus? Choppy choppy yo pee pee? I digress. Or beaver cleavage? If you want to know what even the ruthless aggression era, which is like, while yes, I grew up during the Attitude Era, the ruthless aggression was my era. That was when I was full on, like, you know, I had periods where I stopped watching for different reasons. But the ruthless aggression was my era. Got to see fucking hot lesbian action. Got to see Dawn Marie and fucking Tori Wilson try to get it on when Dawn Marie's plowing Al Wilson. Triple H and his reign of terror. I'm one of the probably the only people that actually didn't hate the reign of terror. I always point this out. I would rather go through another Triple H reign of terror, and I'm not talking the one that Roman Reigns just had. I would rather go with a Triple H reign of terror than Jeff Jarrett's reign of terror in the early days of TNA. I'm sorry. Triple H did a lot better in his, because at least when he lost, he lost, and you know, it didn't take 85 men to beat him like it did fucking hey, Wolfro, number one, man, how you doing? It didn't take 85 people like I remember what was a match with Jeff Jarrett and I think Raven. It's either Raven or AJ Styles, where it took like 85 people and they still couldn't beat Jeff Jarrett. That was unbelievable. Like, I'm talking really unbelievable. Nonetheless, getting back to Mimi Portable, talks about the women thing, right? The thing that threw me over the edge, you'll get a lot of sidetrack in this thing, by the way. And see, I like JBL too. I saw parts of it. I will say, for once, Tony Khan, as much as sometimes he does not look good in these interviews, I thought he handled himself very well. I believe he probably has gone to some training. And you know what? Good for him. I've stated that this is the perfect time for AEW to strike back with everything going on with WWE right now. But anyway, with Mimi Portable, the one thing that I will say regarding all this, right, that threw me over the edge with her was, and on one hand, it's smart. Again, let's be honest here. A lot of male wrestling fans are thirsty ass motherfuckers. They're thirsty ass motherfuckers. You can deny it, but you know it's true. So while I will criticize her for basically doing what she criticizes, I will at least give her credit for knowing her audience. But she has and I saw this through her stories. She has a fucking subscription thing on Instagram. A lot of people do on it. So if you have a decent amount of following or whatever. I don't know who was subscribed to me in that case, but you know, if I ever did that, but yeah. Anyway. But she has a thing where she subscribes and all that. And the main thing she does is show off her feet. That's the kink I was telling you about. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a foot guy myself. But again, I have standards. I don't pay for that shit. No. And I'm not like attracted to her in that way anyway, even if I was single. Plus, she got a man. My point is, she's knowingly doing that, but criticizing the fucking women that were being sexualized. Is it because of course she could do it herself? She doesn't have to rely on a company to do it? Still hypocrisy right there. And I'm just like thinking, you want people to take you seriously, but yet you're fucking doing that. Hey, whatever floats your boat. But don't act like a gatekeeper and tell people to shut the fuck up if they want to give their disagreement to your stance. Speaking of hypocrisy, I'll get to the next person who again I found out through who did I become familiar with through her? Maybe it was somebody else. I can't remember. But a girl from, I think she's in the New York area, Queen of the Ring. She's another YouTuber. Now I will say this about her. She does a lot of promotion, like does a lot of reactions to Joshi wrestling. And I do like that. I at least like it's different than some of the other stuff where it's just like AEW, WWE, or even TNA or something like that. So again, while I may criticize certain things, I will be fair on others. And this also goes back to Mimi in a minute, and you'll hear me out. You'll hear this. Was Queen of the Ring about what made me lose some respect for her and call it hypocrisy was the fact that was a few months ago when they were having that Blackout Friday bullshit, right? Which I've already had my stance on. This is not going to get too political, but I've already had my stance on this. You black out one day, ain't going to do a fucking thing. If you really want to make a difference, if you really give a fuck that bad, then do it for basically forever. But you can't because you rely on a lot of stuff that some of these companies provide. You know, that's just how it is. Don't like it, tough shit. Anyway. She was doing a Blackout Friday thing where she wasn't going to cover SmackDown that night. Why in the fuck would you want to cover SmackDown? I've heard it's nothing but dog shit nowadays, but to each his own. That's the other reason why I don't want to fucking go out, like do a news show even monthly, because that means I gotta watch parts of SmackDown, and I try not to unless it involves Danhausen. I think I only watched the Pat McAfee stuff because I wanted to see if it was as bad as everybody says, which it was. Anyway. And so she didn't stream or react to SmackDown. Okay, cool. But here's the problem with all that. Number one, that's not going to do a damn thing. Hello, Nick. How you doing? Because you're going to be covering SmackDown the next week, making your whole point irrelevant. Second, if you have a big problem with the Trump administration, if you have a big problem with the fucking Trump administration, do you know, I don't know if you know this, but do you know that WWE has very close ties to the Trump administration? I don't know if you know that. But if you didn't, here you go. But yes, they like Triple H has even been at the White House multiple times. Now, granted, the wrestlers, not all the wrestlers support it, but you're supporting a company that is heavily involved with the Trump administration. Well, I agree with you there, but also I agree that the fans who go against it should stay out of it too, if I'm being honest. Because again, the biggest company in the world supports the Trump administration. Whether you like to admit it or not. Let's see. Whether you like to admit it or not, let's see. See, I like Joe Tessitore. He has a little bit of Mauro Ronaldo. Not fully, but he has a little bit. But then again, I don't watch SmackDown from start to finish, so he could be dull. I don't know. So I don't want to act like all that. But anyway. So again, you going back and watching next week, watching the pay-per-view, watching this, watching that. You are supporting a show, and this also goes to Mimi because Mimi's also praising other people in that world have still support WWE. Now you may ask why, if they're so gung-ho in their beliefs. Well, because WWE gets them the most money, the most viewership. And also, let's also point out the fact that they will bitch and complain whenever they can about WWE. But when they get featured in their reacting videos, like when they show like, oh, look at this big return, look, the world reacts. They will be like, oh my God, I'm on TV, or I'm on pay-per-view, or I'm on this, or I'm on that, yay! Hooray! They will bow and kiss the ring of Paul Levesque or Ari Emanuel or fucking whoever. That's just how it is. That's just how, like, you know. That is how it is. They will bend at the knee and kiss the ring. Also, if I'm going to be honest, reacting is probably and there have been a few reactors. I gotta look up one of them. I watched her video about reactors, and she's friends with some of these people. Which, again, I want this to be known. I am not saying these are horrible people. I am only calling out the hypocrisies of the live reaction. And these are not the only ones that do it. But let me get to the I gotta find the person. Wheezy Blonde. I do like that name. I liked how fully transparent she was about how fucking live reacting is the fucking easiest and probably the safest thing to do. I get it if you're doing that as a breakthrough to get into other ventures. I get that. But especially and wrestling ain't the only live reaction. There's trailer live reaction. And you know, there's other ones. Now wrestling, I would say, lives more off of that. Lives more off of the live reaction. Game reactors, like, you're rarely gonna see people post about it unless it's like funny or something. They may post it, like, share, but it's not like the company is gonna do that. It's a rare thing. WWE lives off of that shit because they like the viral moments. And that's what I'm saying. You people are the probably, who knows, maybe you are knowingly, but you are unknowing sheep in this regard because they want those viral moments. Look at John Cena with Travis Scott. What's your thoughts? Give us your reactions. And that's what I'm saying. You like, it is the easiest shit. But again, I appreciate when certain people admit that, because it is. Now, I will also to take a break for a moment to go into a more to what not to do in reacting, because when you're reacting, and again, Mimi and Krindrin, to give some praise, to give some positivity, because I don't want this to be all drama things. They probably will never see this. They're bigger channels. You know, I'm not looking for, like, I didn't tag them in the videos. I didn't do this. I'm not looking for clout. I'm not looking for anything from them, because, you know, it would kind of be stupid if they went after a schmuck with only 1,000 subs. You know, just saying. But to give them, to be fair, and to give praise on certain matters. The fact that they are very engaging with their chat. They're very engaging. When they go live, they're very engaging with their chat. And that goes to a lot of them. I need to find that guy I was talking about earlier because I really like some of his. I don't really care for. I don't watch his reaction content, but I do like his. Let's see. I do like his. His. What's the word I'm looking for? Shit. Like his. You know, who's another good one at reacting to or doing the chat. I know he hasn't done it in a long time, but when Mr. Money used to do the live streams reacting, he was very good at reacting to the live shows. Let's see. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna look up WWE shop. I'm gonna be a fucking idiot once I realize, like, let's see, blind buys. I'll just look up like that. Mr. Saint Santi Zap. I apologize if I mispronounced the name. He was actually on Chris Van Fleet a while back. Actually liked his interview. But nonetheless. So yes, I will give them credit. They are very engaging with their chat. Now, I alluded to this earlier. And I won't say who, but you probably can get the idea of who I'm referring to. But I have been on live reactions in the past. Now there were a few that were actually, like I said, I credit like Mr. Money as one. But there are other reactors or other YouTubers that I've been on in the past that are no longer on this platform that were god awful at everything. I remember one time I went on a stream, and for a little bit I was trying to be that person to break the silence. Because when you're doing a reaction, yes, you want to pay attention to the show. Yes, you want to hear what they're saying. By the way, Dragon. But you also want to engage with your chat. You want to engage with the people around you. Keep conversation going. No one wants to sit there and watch y'all fucking sit there like a bunch of incel virgin nerd. That's a new catchphrase I'm getting around on Popcorn Panel. Oh, hell yeah, man. Sitting there with your thumbs up your ass watching the show in silence. That takes viewers away. So when I would go in there, I would usually try to chat up the audience. And so I wouldn't even be watching the show. I would just be in there for the sole purpose of fucking helping the channel maintain viewership. And usually I get ridiculed for it. Oh, I'm talking too much. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. I'm like, okay, fine. Fuck y'all. I'm not going to offer my assistance anymore. If y'all don't want to, like, this is why you'll stop doing reaction shows, because nobody gave a fuck. That and your channel's got taken down, but you know, it is what it is. But don't do it like that. If you are going to do reaction things, and again, it's the easiest, like, this is what's even funnier. It's the easiest fucking shit you can do. How can you fuck that up? I almost did a raw reaction thing because I wanted to show people how it was done in the community. But I was like, nah. I don't need to. Like, but like as I was saying, there was like the reactors who were more hypocritical, and then there were just the bad reactors who don't do fuck all. Oh, I gotta take a break a moment. Oh, I gotta take a break. I gotta listen to something while and mute my mic. Gotta switch my headphones. You know, it's just it is what it is. It's just stupid. So, but the main focus, right? When did reactors become the gatekeepers? When did their opinion become law? I feel like that's become more prevalent as especially how some of these people act entitled. And they feel like, oh, well, I get the freebies, I get the access to these shows, I go to these events, blah blah blah. You know, while there are some people that I respect the hard work and I respect all this, and then there's some that you know damn well, like they always got to be a little not as harsh on them because that way they get the fucking press invites and all that sort of shit. I've gotten press invites in the past, not really anymore. Just, well, actually, I still do from time to time, but nothing like substantial because just scheduling reasons for me mainly. But, you know, when I used to get press things, press screenings, press events, people liked how blunt I was, how unapologetic I was. How I could say, fuck your feelings with a smile on my face and not give a damn. I could sit there and be like, I like this game. I like this movie. Even if everybody hates it. I love Halloween Ends. I don't give a fuck. I will die on that hill. I still think it's a masterpiece. It's David Gordon Green's magnum opus to the Halloween trilogy he did. Now I will openly, but I'm also fair, and this is the reason why. I'm not an apologist or a ass kisser of David Gordon Green's. The Exorcist Believer sucked. Here's a wrestling example. I thought WrestleMania 40, the main event, the end game, the Avengers end game of wrestling with Cody Rhodes and fucking Roman Reigns was one of the best main events in company history. Not just WrestleMania main events, one of the best main events in company history. But the following year, WrestleMania 41, with John Cena and fucking Cody Rhodes, was one of the worst main events in WrestleMania and in company history. Which is also funny because the night before we had the great main event of who was it? Punk, Roman, and Rollins. Unfortunately, due to that, I'm walking into WrestleMania this weekend expecting Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes to top Cena and Rhodes. And then with Roman and Punk, I'm expecting like more of the triple threat thing, you know? So on one hand, I could be pleasantly surprised, or the other, I could be highly disappointed. So, you know, it is what it is. But again, it's the fact that some of these reactors, well, yes, I mentioned earlier that I'm a student of the game. I've watched a lot of wrestling. And again, Queen of the Ring is very much a proud supporter of Joshi Wrestling. You know, cool. Yeah, I love fucking Halloween 6 too. That's another great one. Now with Scream 2 and 3, I will say I prefer those over 7 now. I kind of owe them an apology. 4 is great though. 4 is fucking great. 4 is great. I'm glad they're bringing that to 4K finally. Anyway. So like what I said about, yeah, she's a proud supporter of fucking Joshi Wrestling, right? Okay, cool. But some of these people, they're around the same age as me, a little bit younger, whatever. You know. I do not believe that I am the end-all be-all of wrestling fandom. I'm not. Nobody is. Nobody should be the gatekeeper of anything in this realm. Nobody. Doesn't matter if you have a penis or a vagina. Doesn't matter. You should not be the gatekeeper. I don't know if I've ever had that dragon. But yeah, nobody should be the gatekeeper of anything. Actually, no, I take that back. There should be one gatekeeper. The ones that keep the creepy ass fans away. The virgin ass losers. The ones who make jokes about fucking women's broken noses, and then they fucking leave, and then they have their mommy fucking come and save their asses from getting raked through the coals. That's who the gatekeepers should be for. Those types of people, because they're. I would say also the wrestling fans who think they know everything. Like, but they're like new to the game. Like, I'm talking, like, if you want to debate me in a wrestling discussion, that's cool. That's fine. I don't care. But don't come at me. I don't have any. Do I have glasses? No. Don't come at me. Fuck it, I'll do it. I did that. I did it on Popcorn Panel last week. I'll do it again today. Give me a second. Let me get into position. Make sure my camera. All right, give me a second. Let me put these glasses on. Can barely see shit, but it's okay. All right, so yeah, let's see. Well, fuck it. Yeah, I don't want to come on here and be like, I've only known wrestling for 2 years, but I know everything. Especially what my senpai, I can't say his name, but what my senpai believes. Let's just say the senpai's with a bald spot. And when we reacted to the Raw things, every time I had the greatest time in my life. I'd like to thank everybody for the grand opportunity. I couldn't wear those glasses for too much longer. Yo, what's up, Vamster? Anyway, that's another thing too. Is like these people who act like that. But again, these are conversations I could have later on. My goal is for these shows, unless I have guests on, I want them to go for about an hour. I feel like more than that is overkill. But you know, there like I said, there's other episodes I like to talk about, like to do. We'll figure that out in the time frame. I do want to figure out different ideas, maybe some Q&As, so on and so forth. And I will say, if I ever do let anybody on, my only rule is it can only be about wrestling. Maybe we can segue for a few minutes about something else or a little joke here and there. But the main focus of this thing is going to be wrestling. If you cannot provide conversation wrestling, then do not come on this panel. When Wrestling with the Devils is live, do not come in. But I have no issue if people want to come in future episodes and shoot shit about stuff. Maybe we could just talk about whatever. But I would like to have certain topics, even wrestling video games. Because that's another one. I've played almost every wrestling video game known to man. And to end this like the mainframe, this is just one guy's opinion and verbiage. I am very blunt. I am very crass. I will say things that may offend you. If you do not like it, well, tough shit. You can. There's always another thing. Some people can say, well, if you don't like me, it's not the point of that. It's the point of calling out the hypocrisies. Do I really watch y'all, like the people I talk about? Not really anymore, no. I don't really, even beforehand, I didn't watch a lot of you. I think most of the stuff I see is like Instagram stuff and all that, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I follow a lot of people on Instagram, so I see a lot of shit. But yes, I'm very opinionative. I'm very fucking blunt. I'm very crass. You know, these are when I get into these conversations, I will go deep. Like I said, probably next week if I decide to, I may schedule it and I may do it. Actually, what time do I work tomorrow or next? Because I work next Monday. But if I do, let's see. If I could still do it for next Monday, potentially. Excuse me. Huh. If I go live at 2 p.m. and have it for an hour, I could, yeah. So you know what? I may do it next Monday, bar any other changes. But yeah, next Monday I'll probably do the WrestleMania thoughts. I'm not gonna go blow by blow. I'm not gonna go fucking all this. I'm going to basically go by match, what I think of them, any highlights I saw. Granted, I'm not going to be watching the show on ESPN. I will be watching it through VPN means. I'm sure there's free trial somewhere. Because fuck that shit. So I will probably watch it today because I also work next week. Next weekend. Or this weekend, excuse me. So I will definitely have to probably watch it while I'm on my way to and from work. That's just how it's going to be. But it'll be manageable. So I can't complain too much. Let's see. I see if there's any comments. Because we're getting near the end of the stream in a moment. No new comments right now. But I thank everybody for watching the premiere episode. We had about, I think the most people we had so far during this stream was 12 people, which for a premiere episode is not bad. I can't complain. But yeah, so next week I'll be giving my thoughts on WrestleMania, and then probably the next episode will be about why are fans so creepy. Why are some fans so creepy, and want to be a little more selective on my wording with that, because some people are like, I'm not a creep. I'm like, I'm not saying you fool. And then we'll probably get into some other topics as the months go by. And if this show does well, and I will maybe also see if David wants a wrestling centric show, maybe we could always do a simulcast. I may try to do it for every Monday, or when I do decide to do an episode for Mondays, because these are, it's gonna be me talking outside of the occasion where I have a guest on or something. I don't even mind doing interviews with people, like doing interviews with different content creators, either in our community or whatever. Just talking about favorite memories of wrestling. I don't mind doing that. Like people, give me ideas. I'm all about taking some ideas and doing some different things with them. It's just different stuff I can implement to make the show more enjoyable for you guys, and all that. I could also do an episode dedicated completely to my love of wrestling and all that. Just not just a brief history lesson I gave at the beginning of the thing. And this is a pilot episode, so it's going to be, and a lot of these are going to be off the cuff. I'm not going to, for example, when I talk about fucking WrestleMania, I'm not going to have a lot of notes. Mainly probably the notes I'm going to have are like the match card, what came on, what. And like I said, for WrestleMania this weekend, I really just have a few. You know what? To wrap it up, I got 5 minutes, a little over 5 minutes. I'm going to give my predictions currently as the card stands for WrestleMania. I'm going to give my predictions to end this off and end it in a more contemporary note, let me just find the match lineup. I'm going on there. And if you're wind, I'm outside. So again, this ain't no professional fucking thing. All this other shit. All right. So anyway, all right. So night one, we have the first hour is going to be available to watch also on ESPN2. We have the opening match and win. We have LA Knight and the Usos versus Logan Paul, I Show Speed, and Austin Theory. I'm going to go with the Usos and LA Knight for the win on that one. Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu in an unsanctioned match. Since Drew is going to be away for filming for the Highlander movie, I'm going to go with Jacob Fatu. And he'll be away from filming after this match. Then we have the women's tag team title fatal four-way match. We have the Bellas, if Nikki is cleared. Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, the champions. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. I'm going to go with, as much as I don't want them to win, I'm going to go with the Bella Twins. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm going to go with Becky Lynch. And Seth Rollins versus Gunther. I'm going to go with Gunther. And Braun Breaker will make his return and help Gunther win. Liv Morgan will challenge Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship. I'm going to go with Liv Morgan for the win for that. And in the main event of night one, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship with Pat McAfee in Randy Orton's corner and potentially Jelly Roll in Cody Rhodes' corner. I'm going to go with Randy Orton to win his 15th world title. The night two, the first hour will air on ESPN. We'll have I believe this is the opening match, Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. That's the match I'm looking forward to the most outside of the main event of night two. I'm going to go with Obafemi. But I'm not going to be surprised if Brock wins, especially with how dominant Oba has been since they announced this match. Then we have the men's, or a ladder match. I almost said men's Money in the Bank. We have a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Penta, the champion, Javon Evans, and Rey Mysterio. Oh, and Rusev, if I didn't say him already. I'm either, like, I wouldn't be upset if Javon Evans won, but I'm going to go with Penta to retain. The United States Championship, we have Sami Zayn defending against Trick Williams. I'm going to, as much as I would like to pick Trick Williams, I'm going to go with Sami Zayn for the sole reason that I think he's going to turn heel. Then we have the Women's Championship match. We have Rhea Ripley challenging Jade Cargill. As much as I would like Mommy to win the Women's Championship, I believe Jade will retain with an assistance from the returning Bianca Belair. That's my bold prediction of the night. Then we have Finn Balor, the Demon Finn Balor. I still think they should have saved a reveal for WrestleMania versus Dominic Mysterio. I really want the Demon Finn Balor to win for the sole reason that if he loses, is my last one. Sorry, someone's asking for a cigarette. I'm going to go with the Demon for the sole reason that he's lost. The last two matches, he was the Demon. His match against Roman Reigns and, of course, his match against Edge at WrestleMania 39. And in the main event, we have CM Punk defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. We do not need another absent champion. And with that, I'm going to go with CM Punk to retain the World Heavyweight Championship in his second WrestleMania main event. And was it Roman's 10th or 11th main event? I've lost count. So those are my predictions for WrestleMania, both nights, with the match card that is currently up. If they do add Io Sky versus Asuka, I'm going to go with Io, and that will be when the Kabuki Warriors break up as well, with Kairi Sane finally having enough of Asuka's shenanigans. So with that, guys, that is it for the debut episode of Wrestling with the Devil. I want to thank everybody for watching. Vampster, Will Ferrell #1. Let's see. We got the Dragon, Motion Zombie, Nick Infante, Adam, My Woman Lilith, and all that good stuff. So anyway, so again, I will be live again next Monday to cover, to give my thoughts on WrestleMania, whether I thought it was good, whether I thought it was bad. And with that, guys, I bid you all adieu. One last thing, tomorrow night, check out the Popcorn Pound podcast on Network 3000. We will be covering the movie Anyone But You with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. I may even give my thoughts on Euphoria Season 3, Episode 1, because I'm going to be watching that as well as Anyone But You tonight with my lovely woman. So with that, I bid you all adieu. Till next time, ta-ta for now.
For